All right, we're going to get into reviewing the occupational physical assessment, that test portion of the master recruiter badge. As always, this is the rubric for the master recruiter badge. Notice there's four major parts, steps to grade on, two different sections. So it's the instructions to administering the Opat. So if you're at your master book, it's starts at page 32. You're going to write down the administer the Opat physical fitness assessment. Must complete 9 of the level steps successfully. Regulations are FM 7-22, UR 61210, and UTC 5-3.5, the future standards. Again, it's broken down to two parts: preparing for the Opat, and then actually administering the Opat. You prepare for the Opat, to start off by completing risk assessment, inventory, obtaining the documents, briefing the evaluator, and then setting up all 4 events. Then part 2, you're going to complete the Opat form, the consent form, complete the scorecard, make sure the future soldier has a scorecard, understands the purpose of it, and then grade all 4 events, make sure the future soldier has breaks, and then hand the scorecard back to the future soldier. Where can you find the documents for the Opat? The EEPD document library, iChrome. Go to the G3 link in iChrome, the EEPD tab, go to the EEPD document library, and then go to the Opat link. Then you do all the forms and start studying, preparing to figure out that. If you're like me and you work in a career position, station career position, administering the Opat, maybe a little bit surprising how much has changed since you were in a career position. So please familiarize yourself with that. Also, I will upload the slide deck, and there will be the link for this location of the forms and documents for the Opat. So you can the risk assessment. This is the latest and greatest deliberate risk assessment. Be familiar with how to fill this out. This is the first step on how to fill out the deliberate risk assessment form. I'm not going to try to trick you with this. Everything else, I'm just going to expect you to understand how to fill it out, where to sign it, where to prepare it, who needs to accept risk on it. So be familiar with this. Who is the approval or disapproval authority for the appropriate level of risk? So know how to make the risk acceptable for to be able to conduct the Opat test. Not want to be conducting the Opat test in a way that's going to make it a catastrophic and frequent situation where you conduct it. Risk hazards, controls they need to implement to reduce the residual risk levels, and additional guidance. If you remember this point too, this is the first step. Not a testable part of that, but know what is required for test site selection. In previous versions of the Opat, you needed to know clearance overhead or the Opat. That's not the current instructions for the Opat. So we know what the latest instructions are for the Opat. The HQX order 202-16 attachment 3. It's a little more vague about where the test site selection needs to be. We just know that this needs to be very basic. hazards, and that it's safe, dry, and then we're able to conduct the events, be able to brief the OIC and COIC, and we'll be able to have new sound of these events. Again, you also just need to know this. Set it up. Your individual if you're not fatigued, injured or ill. It's also part of your risk assessment worksheet. All right, when you are setting up for your interval aerobic run, actually interval aerobic run or digital stopwatch, 10 field cones, and 1 speaker. It must be set up in a 10-meter by 2-meter lane. That's pretty much it for the aerobic run. All the exact measurements are testable, so I'm able to explain it. And what I did for setting this up, I said everything out loud. I am measuring this 20 meters by 2 meters. I'm looking for 1 stopwatch, field cones, and 1 loudspeaker for playback of the audio according to the Opat. Say it out loud gives the greater ability to check out that water. Same for setup for the standing long jump. I'll say that you look for area free of interference to allow scorer to mark the area free of interference, jumper ability to perform arm counter movements. The most is 15 feet, percent of 15 feet by 3 feet. You're marking with tape or marking with cones. Just know that you are also looking for a 20-meter fiberglass reinforced tape measure, a 1 measuring rod, either polyvinyl rod, common non-skews pipe, and a standing long jump test in that pre-printed distance. Know that pre-printed distances are authorized and not required. Again, all these instructions are also located in the notes section of the Opat slide deck. The marking dowel and the towel also here too, but not required. Setting up for the power flow lane, area free of interference, lost score, decibels. So make sure you're not doing it right against the wall, so that the score can stay there. Minimum 15 feet ceiling height. Lines continue every 10 centimeters, so you're looking for that 20-meter fiberglass reinforced tape measuring. Same one used for the standing long jump. Time chalk or tape string line, and the 2 kilogram medicine ball, 4.4 pounds, textured roller surface and solid fill. Again, all the equipment is outlined in HQX order 202-16 attachment 3. For the strength deadlift, there are a lot of different layouts that you could find. The example that's in the X order is the one that's listed here. Just know that there are several different examples. You shouldn't ask me to have them all memorized. And when I went through and last year, you know that you need at least 1 hex bar, 2 bar collars, and told them that they need to know the layout 1, which is this, and know how the layout needs to look, which is this here. 8 foot by 8 foot mat is also required as per the X order. So knowing that also is important. Configuration 1 is the one that they told the headers that had been placed last year. All right, required number of documents. Know what the required number of documents are and what they the actual documents are, is also a critical part of the OPAT, the purpose assessment sheet, OPAT consent form, OPAT scorecard, and the OPAT binder. During the OPAT test, you're not required to have everything memorized, and we'll give you the OPAT binder, so I'll ask for that when we're giving the OPAT test. We'll also have to explain what the purpose of the organization of the OPAT is. You do not have to know this verbatim, but you need to be able to explain this to the grader in your own words. All right, part two. After you pass part one, we're able to move on to part two, where you are going to conduct the actual OPAT. The OPAT consent form, the applicant, fill the scorecard, pass the scorecard back to the future soldier, and grade all 4 events. Show the future soldier a 5-minute break between each event, and then hand the OPAT scorecard back to the future soldier. Scorecard. Fill the scorecard, let's be familiar with it. You don't need to know what all the scores are for the significant, moderate, and heavy levels, just so you know how to fill it out. So the scorecard looks like, and know that you can start getting nice levels, where to fill this stuff out. Also know where to mark pass or fail on the page 2, where to circle. Where to fill out, where to sign, where to have the applicant fill out, where to put dates, all very important. Blank consent form, and I'll fill that out as well. All right, so for the standing long jump, you will have to read this to the applicant, ask them if they have any questions. They have none. Some of the demonstrators, some of the applicants, future soldiers will not have any questions, and that's great. When they conduct it, they are going to make mistakes. Sometimes they'll make these exact mistakes that are listed in the actual work. So this is what you're looking for. When I did it, I said, I'm looking for, this is why I did it. I said, hey, out loud, I'm looking for the applicant or the future soldier to lift their feet off the ground, and that their feet are measured from the most rear foot. I said that all out loud and made sure that the grader knew that that was for these mistakes. When you say it out loud, it just gives the grader the idea that you are looking for these common mistakes, and after the event's done, make sure you get back to the card. Say the see power from. Say that you are read through the whole instructions here. Again, you'll have the binder. Then you'll have an assistant who will be able to demonstrate, or you can do the demonstrations. We'll ask if they have any questions. If they have no questions. I know the rules have changed a little bit for the steam power throw. The individual may lean backwards, forwards, and throw now. Increase the distance. The individual will be able to package throws. So some things to watch out for is having the distance from the chest. So make sure, say, I'm making sure that there's no space between the ball and the chest, and that 2 hands are being used to push the ball. Straight deadlift, same thing. Make sure that you are giving them a short rest, that they don't go right into the next deadlift. Read through all this. Make sure you're always handing back the car. It's a big mistake that sometimes the master or rash contenders don't do. They'll correct the cars. You should do the demonstration, ask the questions. Foot placement is a big one. Reach the back, spine, knees collapse inwards. We have a lot of chances to make mistakes. The aerobic run. I think last year we didn't do any mistakes in this one. This kind of was a mistake. Is that we didn't do any mistakes. And we were just so amped up looking for a mistake. It wasn't. But just go through it. Make sure they're starting behind the lines. Start before the chime. They wait. Before. And that you are grading them properly. And for those pass and fails grade sheet, fill it out, circle the right ones, hand it back to the applicant. Again, you don't have to have these grades memorized. You do have to give back the card. And this was really exciting because this was the last event. And once you passed it, you knew whether you passed your master or crew badge test. Again, my name is Ryan. This is the Opat master crew badge. Any question about it, please reach out to me by email, give me a call, the bell ups. You get something out of this.